Okay, so I'm getting a lot of Majorkill videos to watch. So anyway, shout out to Majorkill. Before I even start this video, if you want me to take down my video, I don't mind. This is the death Korps of Krieg, explained by an Australian. So sending out a lot of love. Welcome back to another video, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. Last but not least, you want to send me any videos, Twitter and Instagram first, and comments last, because like I've been saying, sometimes they get lost in the comments. But other than that, I am ready to just jump right in. Subscribe to the Lunar Dynasty. I upload every day. Let's go. Okay.
Gal, staunch, brave, twisted, and potentially suicidal. These admirable traits belong to none other than the legendary Death Korps of Krieg. Between picking flowers, making happy gas mask noises, and bludgeoning skulls, these brainwashed test tube babies are some of the best the Imperium has to offer.
Jesus.
After all,
brainwashed test tube babies. Okay, I won't try to pause too much, but just a quick shout out just in case I do pause a little bit. But it'll be interesting actually having them explain, now watching 2 animations so far about them. I wanted to just say that because remember I was watching
no longer an issue, the
animation
battle is already won.
With no context.
Now I wanted to make this video a while back for obvious reasons. The Death Korps of Krieg are cool as, and they get lots of views and subscribers. Something I kind of need right now to keep my raging fire that is my ego alit. However, my adopted Uncle Voldemort, yes I can adopt whoever I want, made a Death Korps video that was mind-blowing in quality and featured the largest collaboration of Warhammer YouTubers ever seen.
Oh shoot.
Tough act to follow. However, as the saying goes, just because the cow is already milked doesn't mean Majorkill can't milk it again, regardless of how much it hurts the cow. Interpret that how you will.
And then I'm milking Majorkill's video because I'm just watching it.
Before we get started, the first episode of the Homebrew Adventures animated series is going live this Friday at 11 AM Australia time, 10 AM Eastern Standard Time, or 3 PM London time.
What are the
If you haven't heard of
armors?
me speak of this series, it's basically a fully fledged animation I've been working on with a team of people for the last few months.
Oh
That is
shoot.
inspired by Alpha Buzz's If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device series. However, my series is very different from that in a number of ways. It
I
follows
got
the
recommended
adventure of
that
a group
too.
of Space Marines from various different homebrew chapters, as well as an Ultramarine, obviously, who are torn away from their chapters and forced to work together in a squadron of misfits as they attempt to kill the demon Primarch Fulgrim. I plan for this to be a massive thing for the channel, and it's already got interest from a company who are considering financing the creation of the rest of the series, depending on the success of the first episode. So if you're keen to see the result of the most effort I've ever put into a single thing, as well as support me, then come down to the premiere. I'll be going live straight after the premiere to talk about the show, its direction, answer any questions, and talk about the team. Also, half of all donations during that after stream will go towards one of the animators who helped me with the video as a big thank you. So get keen for
That's pretty cool. When was this out? August 11th? Okay.
that. Today we're going to go over who the Death Korps of Krieg are and how they ended up as the extremely grim and staunch guardsmen that they are today. We'll also go over some of their larger engagements, their war habits, as well as some fun facts about them.
Okay.
Let's get into it. The galaxy is a big place, and whilst everyone seems to praise the Space
Seeing
Marines
this
as
map
the single
again.
greatest power in the Imperium, the reality is there are too few and far between to cover the entire war zone. Hence, over 90% of battles and wars are fought by guardsmen. Different guardsman regiments come from different planets, hence they have insane levels of diversity. This ranges from guardsmen who shit the bed every time they dream about the horrors they will face, all the way to literal Chuck Norris Rambos who can solo entire armies without breaking a sweat. The Death Korps of Krieg tend to end...
Wow. Wow, okay. Did not know that. So, funny enough that he said that, call back to Hell's Reach. Am I about to see those 2 that I was told to keep a close eye on about the fucking solo? Like, they were soloing tanks from what they said. 3 down, I think. And there was like a couple more to go or some shit.
end up on the
Oh, they had 3 more charges, so.
Of that scale, as they have a complete and total lack of regard for their own safety or lives, to a
Oh.
point where the commissars assigned to them do not try to prevent them from retreating, but instead from randomly charging the enemy gun lines with nothing but a shovel. The people of Krieg were not always like this, however. Something pretty uncool happened to the planet which brought them to this level of machoism. See, Krieg wasn't always a radioactive death world. Once, it was a verdant, highly populated imperial hive world.
That looks
A
sick.
key trading point and very wealthy. So wealthy was...
Bro, do you see? Could you imagine trying to live right here? What the? What? What? This is dope though. Oh, I love the fucking look of this. I don't know. It's just so beautiful. But jumping to what they said, in one of the animations, I seen them like riding horseback just straight through enemies, getting shot up and everything. In another death of, I always feel like I'd miss the Korps, and I say death of Korps Krieg. Literally the death of Korps Krieg, but death Korps of Krieg. I seen them riding into battle in the second animation I was recommending. It was like, why the fuck are they rushing in like this? But
Krieg and so paranoid its rulers that they spent vast amounts of money on planetary defenses and private armies that were loyal to Krieg and not the Imperium that controlled it. Now when you combine paranoia, wealth and a massive ego, you get uppity little cunts. Hence the Lords of Krieg were like, what if we rebel against the Imperium? They probably won't have the resources.
I noticed they were French, or some of them.
Which, despite sounding like a really bad idea, actually wasn't. On paper. Krieg was so reinforced from outside invasion that the effort required to retake it would just not have been worth it. Hence, unsurprisingly, Krieg, which is also the German word for war, staged a coup. The Krieg traders ambushed the loyalists at hundreds of positions, taking over all the hive cities and key locations bar one. The loyalists were so overwhelmed that there was little they could do to stop this well-funded succession. But the loyalists of Krieg are based on Germans, and the Germans are great at war. But Majorkill, Germany...
That's what I was gonna say. Damn, wait, never mind. Maybe they're not French. I thought the accent he was doing was French.
He lost both world wars. Silence your decrepit mouth, Timmy, before I fuck you with a shovel. Just because they lost doesn't mean they weren't good at it. All the girls I sleep with act disappointed and never come back, but that doesn't mean I'm bad at sex. Hence, they dug in and defended their last hive city. The commander of the loyalists was a man by the name of Colonel Jurten. Starts with a J, but because he's German, the J is silent. Jurten got in contact with the Imperium, who were like, sorry, buddy.
So my name...
Effort, you're on your own. So yeah, feel free to destroy the enemy any way you see fit.
I was just trying to apply that logic to my name. My name is French. So I was like, I was gonna say my name is... Would it be Aurel? Yeah, Aurel. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm not German.
And then the Archmagos, who was with Jurten, was like, beep, boop, we have a nuke. So Jurten was like,
beep, boop, we have a nuke.
And channeled his inner Kim Jong-un and unleashed atomic genocide upon his own planet. See, whilst the loyalists were wildly outnumbered and outgunned, they were prepared for a planet-wide nuclear strike. The traitors were not. Let's just say, after the world was reduced to a radioactive wasteland so toxic, it would make the Fallout games look like a holiday destination, and billions of people died. The odds were evened out.
Fallout games look like a holiday destination.
Over the next 500 years, the loyalists and traitor survivors engaged in a violent, hectic war of attrition. Hundreds of thousands of kilometers of razor wire, trenches, and bunkers were built. Both sides became bitter and bloodthirsty. However, the loyalists began creating their soldiers by using artificial wombs and cloning, meaning they could create large numbers of consistent troops. On top of this, every loyalist of Krieg was told that they all owed a life debt to the Emperor due to Krieg betraying the Imperium, and that the only way they could repay that debt was by collecting 100 Nazi scalps! Sorry, by violently dying after taking at least 3.5 heretic lives via shovel smacking with them. At the end of the 500 years, Krieg was nothing more than a smoking crater with thousands of bunkers beat beneath its surface. But it was once again under Imperial control. Yay! The Imperium took note of this but didn't really care that much initially. What could have blasted Death World off of the Imperium? The answer was serious fuel for the meat grinder that is Warhammer 40k. Krieg offered up 20 fully equipped and trained regiments of guardsmen with more on the way, straight up. On top of that, these soldiers requested to be placed in the most horrific war zones available. Now before we talk about some of those wars and battles they've taken a part in, let's first dial it back and talk about the Kriegsmen and women themselves. While they are fun and badass as an army, the people of Krieg are about as fun and interesting to talk to as a junkie who just overdosed on opioids. They have no names, only numbers. They never remove their armor and face masks in the presence of non-Kriegsmen, and they are clones of each other. Imagine they are like the clones from Star Wars, however you replace their witty quips of brotherly love for each other with 500 years of trench warfare kicked off by nuclear fire. On top of this, it's thought that the average age of the Krieg's guardsmen is really low, as they're sent off to war pretty much as soon as they are ready. If you're trained your entire life, this could be as soon as you were 16 or even 15. As they don't remove their masks and their voices likely have a Darth Vader-esque filter on them, it's really hard to tell even the gender of the Kriegsmen you might be dealing with. Overall, this really ticks a lot of diversity boxes. They're a mix of Germans, so white people, child soldiers, so Africans, clone troopers from Star Wars, so aliens, and they have no regard for human life, so Asians. I think the key to ending racism is by deploying the Death Corps of Krieg. Moving on to some of their wars and engagements
Oh
now.
my gosh. Oh, great. That was fucking great. I would have flipped some of those to make it even funnier. It would have been... oh my gosh.
The Death Corps of Krieg haven't been around super long, despite the massive impact they have already had for the Imperium. So it might surprise you to learn that their first main engagement was the legendary Siege of Vrax. Now the Siege of Vrax was incredibly hectic and long, and I don't want this video to be 10 hours, so the gist of it was that a priest that got too religious and fell to chaos after he spent too much time hanging around orphanages at night time. He then gathered a massive army of zealots and took the planet of Vrax and fortified the living shit out of it, before declaring war on the Imperium. The Death Corps were deployed to the planet by the millions, and after 17 years of non-stop hectic warfare, attrition, and death, in which even Space Marines had to get involved in, the planet was retaken. The next main instance we see the Death Corps of Krieg was during the Fisting of Durandus. That's not what it's officially called, that's just my name for it. Basically the Hive World of Durandus was sick of paying their taxes, so instead of just using a good accountant to claim a bunch of expenses, hence increase their profits, they declared independence from the Imperium and killed the diplomats sent in to resolve the issue.
Oh wow,
Now declaring independence from the Imperium of Man is never a good idea.
Yeah, no.
Krieg and Vrax did it, and were completely decimated via metaphorical anal maceration. And they were some of the most fortified planets in the
benefit. Wait, I gotta run that back.
Krieg and Vrax did it, and were completely decimated by metaphorical anal maceration. And they were some of the most fortified planets in the galaxy. So a single hive city with no army or real defenses is gonna have a really bad time. And have a bad time they did, as the Death Corps of Krieg simply begun shelling the city non-stop for 5 years. Anyone who tried to escape the city during this time was gunned down. After 5 years, the city declared its unconditional surrender. In response to this, the Kriegsmen continued to shell the city.
How the fuck was anyone alive to declare surrender? Or, what, my mind, I can't even speak right now. Who was alive? They were shelling the city for 5 years?
For another 5 years.
And then they shelled
the last 2 years
for
of that,
another
there wasn't
5
a single
years?
bit of life detectable in the city, but they continued
Okay.
anyway. You might be
okay.
like, wow, what a waste of shells. And to that I say you're missing the bigger picture. The siege, or rape of Durandus, because it wasn't really a siege, paints a very clear picture of what would happen if you rebel against the Imperium.
Yeah.
Sure, they could have just shelled for 5 years, accepted the surrender, and then executed a bunch of people. But that sends a message that you can spit on the Imperium and live to tell the tale. No, it needed to be clear that if you deny the Imperium, not only will you die, but your family, your legacy, and your home would also die. And then when you are dead, your corpse would die, until only your ashes and dust would remain. And then your ashes and dust would be blown to smithereens, and then your smithereens would be bombed into oblivion. The Kriegsmen would then be put up against the Necrons,
man, I love
and this
this
will
dude.
really show off their weakness and problems that emerge when you reject your own humanity.
Oh, Necrons.
The world of Hieronymus Thera, nailed that pronunciation, I'm getting good at this, was a Necron tomb world that began to awaken. In response to this, the Death Corps of Krieg arrived and began fighting them in a war of attrition. Now, Kriegsmen are good at attrition, but the Necrons don't need food or sleep and can self-repair. That is like attrition god mode.
Yeah.
Despite this, the Death Corps were actually able to hold them back and even figure out where the Necron command center was. All they had to do was drop off an atomic weapon there, and then bang, the Necrons would go away. Unfortunately for the Kriegsmen, being total dicks to the entire planet and executing hundreds of Planetary Defense Force soldiers because they didn't like being retrained to become Kriegsmen resulted in them being the bad guys. To a point where, on the way to blow up the Necron Command Nexus, the Kriegsmen were ambushed and fought off by the local human populace who had embraced the Necrons as their gods and saviors from the invading armies of Krieg.
Oh,
fair enough.
Fair enough.
Hence the soldiers of Krieg were like, fuck this, and left, allowing the Necrons to take the planet and likely sodomize the human population there.
Oh.
However, this war would not be a waste, as the knowledge they gained fighting the Necrons would prove invaluable in the Offrian War.
That's a
the
really
Necrons
fucking cool
attacked
picture.
Aramar Prime. The Death Corps arrived, and when the main Necron invasion struck, the only force that was not able to repel the Necron assault but then was able to lead a counterattack which crippled the Necron army, was the Death Korps. Nice. The Death Korps of Krieg would go on to fight Tyranids, Tau, Kroot, more Tyranids, and Orcs. They would even take a part in the Third War for Armageddon and drive back and win the day many times. The thing is about the Kriegsmen is they aren't actually brave. Being brave is confronting and overcoming your fears through action. Kriegsmen have no fear. If they're told to charge a Titan armed with nothing but a shovel, they will do it, not out of a sense of bravery, because that is what they've been commanded to do. They are literally cold machines who have been programmed to destroy the enemies of the Imperium, and destroy them they do. They regard human life in the same way they regard ammunition and vehicles, as a resource that needs to be expended. They even ride horses and lead cavalry charges in the 41st millennium. Like, bruh, hell yeah. There's a reason why everyone loves the Death Korps, and there's also a reason why we are putting them into the Warhammer 40k squad mod that me and a big team of modders are working on creating. They're incredibly badass, and if you still aren't convinced, then listen. In a galaxy with demons the size of buildings, with weapons that can destroy entire star systems, with titans that tower over battlefields and men that can level entire cities with just their mind, a Death Korps guardsman need only a shovel to bring the Emperor's justice upon his enemies. And that does us for today, guys. The lore of the Death Korps of Krieg, and why should...
What a way to end that,
pick up a shovel and gas mask and bludgeon your enemies to death. As a disclaimer, I am not responsible for said bludgeonings. If you enjoyed the video, want to see some hentai, and want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. Only $1 per month gives you access to most of the goodies, and $10 gives you access to the Majorkill hentai calendar.
I'm convinced that... Is he playing? I've seen this at the end of his other video, and I'm like, is this actually what he's doing on his Patreon?
Hit the subscribe button, then hit
if
the
he
real
is, I
subscribe
wouldn't
button
even
for more happy gas
I wouldn't
mask
even
noises.
talk down on it.
Join the Discord for more memes,
you
and I'll see you in the next one.
Majorkill. Oh, that's great. Oh, that was a perfect video. Thank you. I've got like 8 more recommended to watch by him, so he's gonna have a field day if he comes across my channel and sees this. Dude, your writing, man, is just too funny, man. I like the fearlessness of the jokes. I've talked about this in earlier videos. For me, like my videos could be 100% more chaotic, like seriously, but I hold back a lot because I'm actually like, I don't know, like even like I hold myself back to not even jump to a line where he did right there, saying that the Death Korps Krieg is... I feel like that was the most intense joke in this, saying that they're like they're basically unidentifiable, but they're pretty much made up of mostly white people, soldier light or like kid soldiers, so Africans, like and they have no regards for human life, so Asians, and then the other part that they're alien or some shit. I wouldn't go that far yet, because if I let loose, I get a little bit too crazy. I think this generation is a little bit too sensitive for me to bring back my original humor, but nonetheless, I'm still glad there's certain people who push the line, get close, write things, and be like, this will probably be crazy to say in a video, but I'm gonna still say it. I like it. I like it. Also, I always pick up that Australians are pretty badass anyways. I swear, like, the coolest people that I've met so far during, like, live streaming, not to shout out anyone else, because I have people all over that watch me, but, y'all are all cool, but I feel like the Australians don't give a fuck. I don't know if that's because you guys live in a fucking, in a place with super dangerous creatures all over the place, but then I hear some of you say to me that there's not. That's the, not like the propaganda, but like the false kind of news or false things about Australia, that it's actually not that dangerous. But yeah. Oh, that actually made me think. I don't know, I'm going on a complete tangent off of Warhammer 40k now, but yeah, no, I would never want to pick up a shovel like the Death Korps and rush into battle. Nah, I'm good. I'm definitely good. But I remember during stream, someone who watches me at the regular talked about, like, we have bears and stuff here. I don't know. It's not like compared to half the stuff I heard that could kill you in Australia. But I mean, hey, Anything could kill you. You could wake up and choke on a breakfast bagel. I don't know. All right, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm done. Peace.